everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And I'm pretty excited to introduce our guest, who most of you already know. It could easily be said he needs no introduction. But today, we're going to be joined by Paul D'Adamo with RASCORS, and we're going to be talking about the ARA COVID-19 Relief Fund. So without further delay, I'm going to bring Paul on. And hello, Paul.
Hey, Vince. How are you today?
Can you hear me? I can't hear you. There you go.
Hey.
Good, good. How are you doing?
Speak up. Speak into the mic.
That's right. So thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate you being here. I'm excited to give an update to our viewers, to the industry on what's been going on and what's been going on with you, and then what we're going to talk about the ARA COVID-19 Relief Fund. So tell the world is dying to know, Paul, what have you been up to?
Well, I'm on phone duty. Obviously, with COVID-19, RAS put a kibosh on travel to look after their employees. My heart and soul is on the road. It's with the recyclers dealing with this pandemic. And so I've done everything in my power on the phones to connect with people. That's part of my routine, right? I'm a connector. I love being energized by people and working with them and helping them. And we've actually at RAS continued to develop some new stuff for the Takata airbag recall. So, you know, I just keep busy, Vince, and keep moving the product along.
Good. That's good to hear. Well, look, speaking of helping people, the reason why we're on today, speaking to everybody, is to talk about the ARA COVID-19 Relief Fund. Now, you sit on the committee for that fund, and so that's why I invited you on. And why don't you tell us? I mean, I could talk about it, but I really want people to hear from your perspective. I'm going to just ask you some questions, and we certainly want to entertain any questions from anybody who's viewing. Just chat in, and we'll do our best to address your questions. So, right off the top, tell us what the fund is, and you know, give us the 411 on the COVID-19 Relief Fund.
Well, I'm going to start off with one word: unity. This industry is like no other. And in times of trouble, we stick together, we look out for each other. And when the pandemic really first started to come about, I will say people stood up and took action. And I give credit to Compop for initiating the COVID fund with ARA. They've established a beachhead, if you will. RAS soon followed, AB Cats. So we've got some pretty good sized donors. But you know what? We've gotten funds from a whole bunch of other people, individuals, auto recycling owners, vendors. So last count, I think we had about $65,000+ dedicated to providing immediate relief to recyclers in the form of grants of $1,000, which, you know, it sounds like not a lot. I think at this point, for some folks, and as I'll talk about later, $1,000 is $1,000 in my book. Right.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about how that money has impacted people. You're going to share some stuff, some stories about how that money has impacted people. Obviously, we're protecting people's identity, but still there's some really good stories. So who's eligible to apply for one of these grants, Paul?
Initially, we set up for ARA direct members and soon realized that the need was fairly great. So we actually expanded it to our affiliate chapter network. So these are state associations who pay dues just like auto recyclers, and they have members. So indirectly, we all believe we're all part of the same family. So now those folks are eligible. At last check, we had about 60% of our funds going to ARA direct members and 40% to affiliate chapter members. So that's a pretty good split.
That is great. How many grants have been made so far?
41.
So the fund has given out $41,000.
Correct.
That's great. That's really cool. What other? So we've had 41 applications, or maybe a few more. I know that some of them may not have been approved because of membership or something like that. But but almost all of the applications made have been approved. Is that right?
Yes, and that's the beauty of the application. We want it to be simple. We are not an agency. We're just fellow recyclers in the industry. So we made it a pretty low threshold to feel your pain, approve it. We've got 5 people on the committee. We'll go into that in a second. And literally, the checks are pretty much written within days, not weeks, not months. This money is going out as fast as we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's talk about some of the ways that the money has been used, because part of the application is, just give us a brief idea of how you've been impacted by COVID and how you would like to use the grant if you receive it, right? So tell us some stories about how people have used it, and obviously we want to encourage people, if they're watching this and you're a member of ARA or you're a member of an affiliate chapter, you're qualified to apply, right?
Correct. Very simple process. So, and again, I want to reiterate, all applications are confidential by the time we get it at the committee level. So we have no idea who's submitting the application, which is the way it should be.
Yeah, and I can speak to that. I just real quick. So the applications go into a general email box at ARA, and there's only one person who sees it, and that person scrubs the applications of any personal information and then forwards those anonymous applications onto the committee.
Correct. Very streamlined process, and then via email, we all review the applications. Sometimes they come in one at a time. Sometimes we'll get 3 to 5. And then basically we individually approve it, and then they compile it, checks are written, things happen quick.
Great, that's great. What's the average amount of time it takes from the time an application is submitted to the time a check is written?
That stat I don't have because I'm not on the ARA side, but I got to believe that probably within 5 days of approval, that's done. And I'm assuming that within 1 or 2 days of receiving them, we're looking at them. So,
oh yeah,
5
I know that.
7 to 10 days.
Yeah, I know that you're receiving them almost, within the same business day, unless they come in at the end of the day. You're receiving them very quick, so there's no delay there. So, yeah, you're looking at 5 to 7 business days probably. So if you're watching this and you take that into consideration. So Paul, tell me how what some of the stories that you've seen for people applying for this.
Well, obviously, depending on where they were, obviously, if you're in the Northeast, Washington State, the shutdown was pretty immediate. So you'll see, we hear sales being down 40, 50, 60%, laying off employees because the PPP didn't quite come out. Maybe not everyone's even had a chance to apply. Comments like lost all walk-in traffic. Honestly, we're grateful that we've not had a lot of employees exposed, although that came through in one application. So what happened was one employee was exposed and self-quarantined, but the rest of the employees were afraid to go to work, not knowing if there were remnants of it. So those are some of the things that come up. One of the comments was they were desperate. It's a new 3-year-old company. They shut the gates. They were relying on their eBay and online sales. Basically, they were forced to lay everyone off and call in people as needed for daily work. So they were really struggling to keep things going. And I also have heard about the triple threat. Sales are decreasing. Auctions were closed or selling cars on a limited basis. And then the prices were going up. So the reduced hours are putting pressure on productivity. So it's a real, it's like got 10 legs around you and you're tied up.
Yeah. No, I'd heard stories about, the supply diminishing and people trying to buy, and it's driving prices up. But look, this was launched right around the time PPP was coming together, maybe just slightly before actually. And And although PPP is out there, we've not stopped, right? So we still have more money. We're still receiving applications. We want to encourage people to apply. And obviously this is full forgiveness. You don't even have to fill out another form. Once you fill out your application, you get your check done. So tell me some of the can you share some of the instances, some of the things that were done with the funds that were shared with you?
Yeah, well, I would say out of all of them, in some form or fashion, payroll was probably one of the biggest ones. In some cases, it was to distribute to all, he said, this is the quote, distribute to all my employees to thank them for working through this time. That says a lot about us as owners of recycling companies, that we value our employees. Some folks were using it to pay for utilities, keep current with other vendors, PPE, setting up your office to accommodate the new normal and making sure that your employees have masks, which were difficult to find. One member actually said they might need the money to pay their ARA dues. That's the value they put on their membership. So we actually got together and we were going to have Sandy call them and try to work something out, because we didn't want that to impede their membership. But what a gesture. And then for some of their employees, one of the quotes is, "My guys are great. This is where the money goes." In some cases, we had one person, one of their employees, their wife was laid off from work. They were in dire straits, and it would help making ends meet with food and utilities. So you could apply for the grant for your business or for an individual employee that worked for you. One other quote. Let me ask you, Chronicles of the world will appreciate this.
Was it only managers or owners applying? Have you seen any employees, at different levels of the organization apply on behalf of the business?
Yes, we did.
Really?
And this person could not relay enough how they thought the owner really stepped up to the plate and had done so much for them. And in fact, I think that was the one where the employer had literally paid full wages to 26 employees. And if he got the grant, the owner, now this is the employee talking on behalf of the owner, if they got the grant, the owner was going to match it and put on a team building day as a display of gratitude to them. That's pretty cool.
That is very cool, because I know that that there's been a lot of stress and a lot of hard work, and so I'm glad to hear that people are using. They're not feeling like they're restricted and that they got to pay a bill or they have to do this, but that they can just use it for goodwill and morale. So that's fantastic.
Yep, I got one last. I want to make sure I get this quote in.
Yeah, go.
Please consider us for some help. This is our business and our home. We put everything on the line for this, and now look at maybe losing it all for the future. So as well as I do, you've traveled. I've been in the industry 30 years. This is like my family. And when my family hurts, I want to help. And in this particular case, they're feeling the pain. So I think that's why the immediacy of the fund when it came about and the action that was taken by the industry is just really something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, and we are too. And you mentioned some of the people at the beginning of this who made this happen. So we're very honored and humbled that we work with such a fantastic group of partners in this industry, and that this was able to happen. So so if you're watching, we still got a little bit of money. We want to give it away. So go to the website at our website, a-r-a.org. You'll see the link right there to apply for your grant. As long as you're an ARA member or you're an affiliate, state affiliate, you can apply. So, Paulie, any last comments before we wrap this up?
Well, I'm going to quote my good friend Marty Hollingshead, right? Lakewood, he says, "Don't worry about it. If we run out of money, we'll get more." So right now we got about $25,000 in the bank. We need it. We'll get more. We have people in the industry that will come forward. So that's my final statement for the day.
Yeah, no, he did say that, and I believe that 100%. That's the type of industry this is. If at some point we blew through that 25,000 and got another 10, 15 applications, I'm sure we would be able to fund it. So all we would have to do is ask. The people in this industry are fantastic. So look, man, I can't wait to see you in person out on the road at some point. Do you have any feeling for how Raz is going to respond or adjust as we move forward, timeline wise? When will we might see you again?
Can't say right now. And with these flare-ups down south, I think that might put more of a tempered movement on that.
All right. Well, look, we miss you. We look forward to seeing you. I just want to remind everybody that ARA is very closely monitoring everything that's going on. We're working very closely with our property in Reno for the convention, the Pepper Mill. We're speaking. They're looking to do they're hoping to fully launch a reopening here in the next week or two, July. They want to fully open. So we're in contact with them. One of the things we've been watching is SEMA. Obviously, one of the largest, if not the largest, event that happens in Las Vegas every year, and they are moving forward. We've been kind of keeping an eye on that, and they're moving forward. They're hosting their event, and so we feel confident that if they can prepare and handle the crowds that they're going to handle. The people at the Pepper Mill have assured us that they're taking measures to implement safety precautions, and that we will be able to host a fantastic 2020 ARA convention. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody out there. It's going to be great. Also, before we go, I want to remind everybody that we are still planning to do our ARA summer road trip. It's coming up in a few weeks, July 23rd through 25th. We're going to Chicago. We're going to visit Auto Parts City, Stafford's Auto Parts, and ABC Auto Parts. Three Gold Seal or car certified locations. It's going to be great. It's a small group of people. We're limiting this to a couple of dozen people, and I am securing a 55 passenger bus. Social distancing won't be a problem. We're going to all travel together. It's going to be a great time. If you have somebody at your location that you want to invest in, maybe you want to go, maybe you want to invest in your operations manager or your yard manager or whatever it is. This is a great opportunity to put that person in the middle, see 3 great facilities, and be able to pick the brains of not just the operators of those facilities, but much, if not all, of the executive committee for ARA will be on this trip. You'll be able to talk to them. We're going to spend time together. So I hope you guys go to our website and register. So Paul, want to thank you for taking time today, and hope you stay safe and enjoy the 4th of July, as I hope we all will. So everybody, thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks, Vince.
You're welcome. See you later.